Ready. Play.
And also, Sean, yes, the new mixed doubles is just a US Open thing. Yeah, it's just incredibly stupid, but it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I knew Damien would have this opinion. I actually haven't.
I mean, the idea is not like I'm fine, if you wanna just scrap mixed doubles or something like that, yeah, I go for it. I don't care. I don't care about mixed doubles, but you cannot call it a slam. It's just not. It just has zero correlation to every single slam title in the past, and I actually feel like the players will not be calling it that. I feel like there will be just a massive asterisk on this title, and that's where it should be. It's just not a slam. It's
I
not.
agree.
It's a fun exhibition. It's a good spot for players to catch some playing time, money as well. It's a good moment for the fans. Maybe more fans will come to watch this and also stay for some of the qualifying action.
Qualifying, yeah.
Why not? I love it. Yeah, great stuff. It's just not a slam. And let's be blunt. Let's be honest about this. This is my message to the USTA. Just admit it. Just say this is not a slam. We just decided to abolish mixed doubles.
I'd like someone to clip this. This is a very rare occurrence. I'm about to agree with Damien. I think it's literally just a exhibition. There is no way you can convince me that you got 9 out of 10 of both the WTA and the ATP Tour, and you're gonna, if one of those pairs wins it, and you're gonna say, "Yeah, I now have a slam title." Like, if you're telling me you're gonna rock up to round 1 of your actual US Open match, and Taylor Fritz is going to go, "I have a slam title."
Because I guess both of you are a little bit conflicted in terms of, probably being a bit more on the traditional side in terms of there's a lot of other issues that are not necessarily what the US Open are trying to fix. And yet you probably also want to promote the doubles as much as possible. So I'd be interested to hear from you, Hanlon, as well on these changes that we're about to see at the US Open that is coming up in a couple of months.
Yeah, I think many of us, I'm mainly just curious to see how it goes, but I've heard a lot of rumblings that most of the top 10 singles players on the men's and women's have committed to playing. So, overall, I think it's great that they're innovating, trying something different. I think most people, even double specialists themselves, would likely agree that the mixed doubles format needs some type of tweaking or a refresh. And it's great to have, more of the singles stars in the draw to get fans excited. And to, I think it's always fun to watch singles versus doubles players square off in any type of these events. The thing I don't like is the fast sets to 4. I would I think if they could keep the format, that could legitimize the tournament a little bit more, make it less of an exhibition feel and more of a, you're still winning a doubles major. And then if there were more opportunities for double specialists to enter, that would also be ideal. So you get more of those singles versus doubles matchups. But the way that it's formatted, it seems like it'll likely favor the top singles players. But I like that they're mixing it up a little bit and hosting it before the main event starts, so mixed doubles can get more of a spotlight and TV coverage, and interested to see, what happens of that. So all in all, I think it's good that they're trying something different, but there are a few things that I would consider tweaking. But I'm interested to see if the other majors will follow suit after this and their version of that too. But I don't know, Will, if you have any thoughts to expand on that.
Well, there's a lot of different angles to this, and I actually did a full hour and a half podcast with Dan Kiernan on this. So from the US Open perspective, they're trying to please ESPN, I guess, right? They're trying to get the big TV contract, and to do that, they have to have Coco Gauff or Iga or Jannik Sinner or Carlos Alcaraz on the tennis court, right? So to do that in a mixed doubles draw, they can't just have the doubles specialist playing. So they're thinking about that from a short-term perspective, right? I'd prefer them to use a blend of the two, but they're not doing, or it seems like they're not doing that this year, because one of the things that they're One of the things they're doing is they're doing top 8 teams on your singles ranking, and then the other 8 teams are wild cards, right? And I assume that they're not going to give a lot of those wild cards to doubles specialists. Because one of the things that Eric Buderak said on Andy Roddick's podcast was we can't have, or actually Dan told me this when he talked with Eric, but he said they can't have, 4 double specialists on the court. Like ESPN won't like that, right? That people have not heard of. And that's kind of understandable from their perspective. But they've got to find a balance and a blend of the two where they are getting Coco Golf on the court and the single stars to help bring viewership in the short term, but they've also got to start promoting some of the doubles specialists and the doubles players so that over the long term, they can become more popular as well.
If I understand rightly, it's going to be in terms of the format, other than the fact it's going to be just 16 pairs and also over the course of 2 days, as I'm showing on the screen right now. But also it's going to be quite similar maybe to what we have at the end of year finals for the next gen. I mean, obviously those guys are playing best of 5, first of all, so that's still different. But what they're going to do a sort of best of 3 version.
Mm-hmm.
First, a pair to get 4 games, but if it's 4 all, they'll do a tiebreak. Is that right?
Yeah, and the third set's a 10-point tiebreaker, so they're not doing a
10-point tiebreaker.
Yeah, they're not even doing a full third set.
I mean, I think matches therefore will last somewhere between 15 and 45 minutes, possibly. And does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they were shooting for. They kind of experimented with this last year with the. They did it the same during Fan Week. I think it was Wednesday night. It was on ESPN, and we didn't know it at the time, but this was kind of a test to see how the viewership was. But they did a little mixed kind of exhibition thing last year, and I think like Andy Roddick was playing in it, and they had Djokovic out there and maybe Coco. I don't really remember, but it was on ESPN, and it was good promotion for tennis. And I guess the numbers indicated that they should do more of that. So now it's going to be a 2-day event aired on ESPN. They're just kind of pushing aside a lot of the doubles players, though, which is the kind of unfortunate thing from my perspective and their perspective, primarily.
I also want to get Hanlon just one more time on this before he leaves us, and then we will wrap things up. But the word that you used as well, legitimacy, Hanlon, does come to my mind because, I've been at tournaments, as you probably both have, and you've touched on it, when you have this week before and you have some exhibition vibes. I mean, even in Estoril recently at this year was a 175, but normally a 250 on the Sunday, just before the main draw got underway. They had a sort of 8 players, first to 10 points. So it was like a champions tiebreak, and the first to 10 would go through to the quarterfinals, also the semifinals and the final. But it was all a very chilled out, fun vibe. And I can see now some of these, especially the singles players, playing, laughing, joking. And I think in a way we don't want too much of that sort of party exhibition vibe. And I think we might end up getting it. What do you think, Hanlon?
Yeah, I think that's seems to be a main critique of a lot of the, from the doubles community and others who, are former Grand Slam champions and don't want their accomplishments to be downplayed moving forward. Or so I think if there were some tweaks to the formatting, if it was best 2 of 3, like with the 10-point tiebreaker, no ad, just full sets, that would certainly help, and just keep the formatting the same, because it definitely, like you said, some matches could be over in as quickly as 15 or 20 minutes, and if you win 4 of those, then you're a Grand Slam champion. So I think there's debates whether or not the mixed doubles draw as it stands as an exhibition, because there isn't, a mixed doubles ranking, and the Grand Slams are really the only, apart from Indian Wells and some other like newer exhibitions, the Grand Slams are really the only events that have a full mixed doubles draw. So there's, just that ongoing debate on, whether it's an exhibition or a legitimate Grand Slam. And I don't think this move will help in terms of legitimizing it as a, premier Grand Slam title to the same caliber as the other double, men's and women's doubles titles.
Indeed. Hanlon, you can shoot off, but if you're okay, Will, for another 5 minutes, there have been a couple of questions come in. But big thanks for joining us today, Hanlon, and we'll see you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Talk
Cheers.
soon.
Take care.
Bye, Hanlon.
So a couple of questions on your Instagram page have flown in. We'll address the second one just because it's more relevant to what we're talking about now, but then we will, Vanch, get to your question in a moment. This comes from Vaskom Ladanov. I hope I'm saying your name right. He's arguing, how is it great in any way, basically? He says it's terrible. People who play doubles for a living now cannot get into the draw, which is obviously something that sort of hurts you a bit, doesn't it, Will?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the big thing is you have to look at it from all the perspectives, even if you don't agree with all of them. So from the US Open perspective, it is great because they're going to be able to get Coco Gauff and Ben Shelton playing against Carlos Alcaraz and Iga Swiatek or some matchup like that. And that's going to be attractive to ESPN. So then that's going to allow the US Open to negotiate a bigger TV contract. So as far as the dollar signs go for the US Open, it's fantastic. From the doubles players perspective, of course, it's terrible. You now have one less tournament you can play in and you're already not making a ton of money as a doubles player. So yeah, it's not good from the doubles player perspective. I do think one thing I'll mention, since y'all were talking about kind of the exhibition nature of it, a lot of the doubles coaches and players I've talked to have agreed with that. Like, we can't call them a Grand Slam champion. Although the US Open is planning on still calling them a Grand Slam champion. But the difference between this tournament and like the Indian Wells, although it was decent, but maybe the one you mentioned in Estoril, is the prize money is real. The winner, I think, takes home like $1 million. So I think they are going to be laughing and having a good time, but I think they're going to want to win as well.
But will that not maybe happen as they get closer to the title, rather than maybe
Probably.
in the first round they might still, there's a lot of big money there. And funny enough, I did think about the financial aspect even at this challenger, just because I think there was some decent money on offer as well. I can't remember what it was, but tens of thousands. So I still thought, even if you're ranked 50 or 100 in the world, as some of those guys were that were competing for that tournament or that exhibition in Estoril, I still thought, for 10 minutes work, even if you're 100 or 150 in the world, 50,000 euros or whatever it was is a nice 15 minutes work, if you like. So, but yeah, coming back to, obviously you're talking obviously about $1 million here, so it's even much bigger. But yeah, I wonder if that'll play into things as they get nearer sort of the end of the 48 hours or the 2-day event. But we'll see.
So.
I wonder as well if there might even be some people getting out there and saying, look, maybe they want them to be laughing and joking, but maybe they'll be like, don't laugh and joke too much. I don't know if they can get that vibe, away, if you like. But,
it'll be interesting to see. I think they're going to want them to have a good time and it's entertainment, right? Sport is entertainment. So I think early on, like you said, we're going to see a more of kind of the laughing fun side, but then as it gets closer to the finals, and it'll depend on who makes it too. If they do give a wild card to like Vavasori and Irani, for example, like they're probably going to take it pretty seriously throughout because they're playing only doubles now, and $1 million is a lot. Like that would be their biggest purse, I think, for the year, probably. So it's a significant amount of money for sure.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.